Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Comedian Deon was on a recent episode of Drink Champs. Salute to DJ EFN and Nori. Y'all doing an excellent job over there. So he tells his story of streamer Kai Kanai at some event, some Hollywood event, and he's there. And he said, what's up, man? And he said, Kai looked at him and then looked the other way. The video that I saw was consistent with his story. And he said that, Drewski then, got in his ear, was like, yeah, man, that's Deon Cole, that's the dude be doing the Old Spice commercial. He said, oh, yeah, okay, all right. And then he just kind of shot off, right? So Deon's problem was that Kai needs to know the celebrities and the OGs when he's covering these Hollywood events. He was hired by some big company to cover the event, and he didn't know who the players were. If you recall, I think it was a few months ago, there was a video circulating of an exchange between Kai and Wale. Kai didn't know who Wale was. In fact, he pronounced his name wrong. He didn't even know he was somebody until he looked at his phone and he saw all of the people commenting in real time about how he pretty much just dismissed Wale, right? Because he didn't recognize him, right? So Kyle was like, hey man, forgive me, man, I'm young, I don't know everybody. What do y'all think about that, fam? He's young. Do he get a pass because he's young? I'll give you a few moments to think about it. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you say, hey man, get a youngster a pass, man. He a young dude, he don't know no better. Give him a pass. Thumbs down if you say, nah, there ain't no excuse. I'll give you a few moments to think about it. Okay, time's up. My thoughts. Being young is no excuse for ignorance. Okay, that's first and foremost. But before I go any further, let me just say this. There should be a little grace, just a little grace on both sides, right? Being that there is an age gap there, and he's thrust into this atmosphere with all of these people who came before him, who paved the way, and he's one of those youngsters who is in an entire different world. Even though he's a celebrity, he's streaming, right? And so that's a different world. So perhaps there's a little grace there. I can give him an ounce of grace there. But Deon is absolutely right in pointing out that if you're gonna hire anybody to cover an event, they need to know who the players are. They need to know who the celebrities are, who the OGs are. Y'all remember that time when Rick James was on stage and that girl was like, she didn't know who Rick James was, and she was giving out awards. She was one of the presenters, I believe. And Rick James said, I'm Rick James, bitch. Yeah, you don't know who Rick James is? You have no business on an award show, being a presenter, or working there in any capacity if you're there to where you need to know who the players are. You absolutely shouldn't be on the stage at an event where you have music legends and you don't know who Rick James is. I don't give a damn if it's country music. You don't know who Rick James is, you don't belong on that stage. Now, and here's the thing, fam. Some people say, well, you can't know everybody. Some people got big egos, man. You need to just let it rest. Who Deon Cole, who is he to be trying to call Kai out, Kai, he young, man. He don't know no better. He don't have to know them. Yes, he do. Yes, he do. If you're going to be covering events where you have different people from different eras, and you're covering that event. You know those people are going to be there. And even if you didn't know in advance, nobody told you, you need to be prepared. You need to prepare yourself. I would not personally take my ass into an event to cover an event where I'm speaking and I'm interviewing people and I don't know who the hell I'm talking to. I'm going to do my homework. I don't give a damn if I'm covering opera. I'm going to know who the players are. I'm doing my homework. I'm not going to embarrass myself, and I'm not going to embarrass or annoy the guest. I won't do that. I got too much pride in how I move. So that's a lack of preparedness on Kai's part. And it's also a lack of foresight for the company who hired him. At the very least, you give them a script and you say, yo, man, these are the people who are going to be there. Deon Cole was not there by accident. He was invited there. And you don't get to go backstage at award events and stuff like that if you don't have the proper credentials. So these people iron these type of things out well in advance. You might have one or two people that might slip through the cracks, but damn near everybody that you see in that green room, they had reservations well in advance. So the people who are producing these shows, they already know exactly who to expect at these events. So there ain't no excuse. Don't give me that young shit. I don't want to hear nothing about being young, because when I was his age, I knew who the players were. When I was his age, I couldn't, whether I walked into a room full of hip hop legends or I walked into a room full of R&B legends, I knew who the players were. I knew who all, not just the biggest of the big players. I also knew the unsung heroes of that genre. I knew them. So, that's no excuse. And I'm saying I was in these rooms just as a guest, and I knew who they were. Now you gonna put me in a hosting capacity? You gonna put me in a presenter's capacity? You gonna put me in an interview capacity, an interviewer capacity? Oh, you better believe I'm going to know who the players are. You better believe I'm going to do my homework. This is not an excuse. It's not an excuse, but I tell you what it is. It is an indictment on the culture. It's an indictment on the culture because we don't hold our legends in high regard. We don't protect our legends. We don't honor our legends. We got this thing that we do. Well, he's old. She's old. When somebody tell me that I'm old or something like that, I mean, thank you. Thank you. That's the goal, you dummy. Getting old is the goal, dummy. So I wear it proudly. Yeah, I wear mine proudly, man, like stripes. I got my stripes. Yeah. Do you know what the alternative is to being old? It ain't young, it's dead. Because the moment you stop growing, you're out of here. Like, I've been through a couple eras, and this era right here is the worst in recognizing and respecting their elders. And I can see why so many of them, these youngsters, have bad luck because they don't respect their elders. I can see why so many of them die young because they take their lives for granted. The idea is to get old. The idea is to be someday considered a legend or an OG, you know, one of the elders. That's the goal. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.